Hey everybody, 1 second.
Start the recording. Just Jason, start recording. Start loop.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us here at cluecon Deconstructed. Welcome to the FreeSWITCH workshop. Before we get started and I hand it over to Fred, I have a few quick announcements. Number one being that tomorrow, August 5th, is officially the day you can find the Coder Games room in the lobby, same way you found this room, at 10 a.m. until noon. So 10 a.m., we're doing demos of our game theory challenge, which it's not too late to participate in if you're interested, where everybody will be creating a game. So that has to connect to SignalWire somehow. It's going to be so if you're interested in seeing those demos, show up at 10 Central. And if you're participating, you have a chance to win a Nintendo Switch, an Oculus Quest, and or $500 in SignalWire credit. So don't miss out on that. And then at 11 Central is the beginning of Get a Clue, which is our live scavenger hunt. If you want to participate in that, it takes no prep work and no coding skills necessary. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of trivia questions, tasks, and a couple coding challenges if you're up for it. But again, coding not required to win. And if you just want to observe in the winning room of Get a Clue is going to win an exclusive Coder Games t-shirt. So when you join us for cluecon in person next year with your Coder Games t-shirt, everyone is going to be super jealous. So I think that's a pretty good prize. Then on August 6th, we've got the Dangerous Demos ran by James Bodie. So if you're interested in participating in Dangerous Demos, let us know on Slack at SignalWire community if you haven't joined already. That's where we're giving everybody all the information for what's going on the next couple of days. And then finally, tomorrow, speaker presentations start right after the Coder Games at 12:30, and that's going to be the keynote speaker, Anthony Minasali. So don't miss out on that. I know we're all excited to catch that talk. So again, that's 12:30 Central Time tomorrow. So don't miss out on our awesome speakers. And that's all the announcements I have for today. Don't forget to check if you're muted if you don't mean to speak. It's a problem we don't really have in real life conferences, you know. So if you don't want to be heard, make sure that the mute button is on. And it should be automatic when you enter a room, but just give it a double check just in case. And I can't wait to see everybody tomorrow for the Coder Games. It's going to be so much fun. And take it away, Fred. Thank you, guys.
Hello. My name is Fred Mutesa. If you're here for the first time, welcome to cluecon. This is cluecon Deconstructed. We are doing online, and it's a privilege because I think all of you are attending from the comfort of your homes or your offices. I'm glad to be presenting to you this workshop where I'll be showcasing how you can integrate your FreeSWITCH instance with SignalWire. If you are here for the first time, of course, you will want to know what is SignalWire. I'm sure you probably joined this conference when you have a clue of what FreeSWITCH is, but I will give you a highlight of what these two are. FreeSWITCH is an open source soft switch that is used, I think the most used all over the world. It's robust. There are so many companies that have used FreeSWITCH to build immense products, and starting with call centers to real life systems, SBCs, so many things like termination switches. So much has been done with FreeSWITCH. And because there are so many people out there using FreeSWITCH, we want to make it so easy to integrate FreeSWITCH with SignalWire. The question that comes in mind would be, what is SignalWire? SignalWire is the enterprise product is the new company that basically came up after the developers of FreeSWITCH decided to come into the market and disrupt. I love the slogan that says that develop and disrupt. Ideally, we want to bring products that are really cheap and we want people to use them and companies to join us and make sure they use our products. In this workshop, I'm going to be showcasing a fresh installation of FreeSWITCH, and I'll be showing you the methods or options you have to connect with SignalWire. SignalWire has a base of phone numbers you can purchase. You can use SignalWire as your gateway provider, but that's not all. There are so many things you can do with SignalWire. Like earlier, my colleague Luca was showing how you can do different things, how you can join SignalWire and receive messages and send out messages, make new calls, create webhooks, create APIs. That's not something I'll cover here, but just to mention that there are many possibilities. So the intention here is we want to integrate this FreeSWITCH instance with our SignalWire account so that we are able to make calls out. If you have international calls enabled in your SignalWire account, ideally you will be able to have your FreeSWITCH extensions make international calls through your SignalWire account. And since SignalWire is offering really cheap rates compared to other competitors, you're already taking advantage of the service. Okay. When you've installed FreeSWITCH, you get default extensions or default users. That is 1000 to 1019. They are already installed in there for you, and the default password is 1234. Because my installation is really fresh, I'll show you the steps I took to install, since I'm not going to go through the installation process. And seeing this here on the screen, later you can pause and see these commands, but nevertheless, I'll go through them. The first thing we do is install the dependencies, and we pull the key for the repository, and then we install FreeSWITCH. Those are all the steps you need. And then for SignalWire, you have to go to signalwire.com, and then you create an account. The thing is, when you create the account, it will start in trial mode. This was done to make sure that we vet all the new accounts. SignalWire will vet all the new signups. All you have to do to get out of trial mode is to share your credit card details. You add your credit card details and make a minimum payment of at least $5 to make sure your account gets out of trial mode. That way you will be able to use Sip endpoints and send messages and join international and make international calls. So if you want to use SignalWire as your SIP provider or your gateway provider, those are the simple steps you do. You go to signalwire.com, create an account, add your credit card, make a manual payment. But when you sign up a new account, you will have some free balance or free free credit given to you. I think it would be like $50, but that we need you to make a manual payment so that we are sure that the credit card details you provided are valid. And then, of course, you will be interacting with the docs.signalwire.com to access the documentation. Now, of course, to install these are steps to install FreeSWITCH. I've already installed, but I've put them here for you to follow in your free time in case you want to put up your own instance. I'll show you my installation. I'll jump in right now. So when you've installed from from packages, your configurations will be found in etc FreeSWITCH. That is if you've installed on Debian. So this is where your FreeSWITCH configurations will be. Not to mention, by default, the first method we are going to use to connect our FreeSWITCH to SignalWire, we are going to use a module called mod-signalwire. Currently, if you're running Debian 9 and above and you're installing the latest FreeSWITCH unstable, you'll have that module shipped by default. So basically, you don't need to do anything to install it. But if it's not there, I'll also show steps you need to install it. But if you've just installed an instance like I have here, and it's able to connect, it's running, this is how we connect to the FreeSWITCH console by typing fs_CLI. This takes us to the FreeSWITCH console. Now we need to know if the module is installed. The first command you use is module. You need to check if a module exists. You do mod exists, and then you type mod signal wire. And if you get true, it means that the module is installed. So if a module is installed, now we need the next steps to connect it to SignalWire. So I will show you some key commands you need. If you are new to FreeSWITCH, these are key commands. Module exists, tells you whether the module is installed. If you don't know where the FreeSWITCH configurations were installed, you can use that command to evaluate the path just by doing evaluate. So it automatically tells you where the configuration files are if you didn't know where they have been placed. And then we have the default password. This will tell you the password for the extensions to know what password you use to register. And it tells me that the password is 1234. First of all, for security reasons, I will go and change this password in buzz.xml. It's right here. So I'll just add a 5. Make it quick. I'll go back to the FSCLI and reload. Reload XML. Reload the changes I've done. And then I will try to register an extension using my SIP phone. I'll go to preferences. I have so many extensions here, but the extension I'm interested in is this one. And I'll add a 5 because I had already registered it. Then I'll hit register. It's registered. So we have a phone registered. I can see that by doing show registrations. And you can actually see that I have an extension 1000 registered from that IP. You can see the SIP contact. Now, those are the basic steps to show you how to connect an extension, register it to FreeSWITCH. Now, the other step is to make sure that we connect mod-signalwire, FreeSWITCH to SignalWire. These are steps you need. So like I said, step number 1, that module is already available in our repos if you're using the latest FreeSWITCH. If you're having old FreeSWITCH 1.6, mod-signalwire will not work. At least you need FreeSWITCH 1.8 and above to make sure that you will be able to utilize this option. So you can go in there and install that module if you have to do it. Then you can load it, but you can see it's already loaded by default. And then the next step, which is number 4, is ideally to create a token. So we generate a token from the FreeSWITCH side, which is SignalWire token. And once I hit that, it generates for me a token right here. And once I have that token, I need this token to go to my account in SignalWire. Account is fred.signalwire.com, and I'll go under, you go under integrations. So you log in into your project, then you go under integrations, and you can create a new integration. When you create a new integration, there are options here. We have SignalWire Stack, that is for customers that are using enterprise FreeSWITCH and they pay for support. That's a product that is FreeSWITCH. And then for those that are using open source or the free version of FreeSWITCH, you will go for FreeSWITCH, the FreeSWITCH part. And then there is Agora and Zapier as well. So these options here help you integrate your third-party applications with SignalWire. In our case, we are interested in FreeSWITCH. So I'll connect to FreeSWITCH and give it a name. I'll call it cluecon test. Sorry, this is cluecon test. The name really doesn't matter. It needs to be something readable. And you put the token we copied from FreeSWITCH. And once you do that, you click connect. It tells me this is already taken. Okay, let's see. All right, so sorry, I had already generated a token and it tells me it's already taken because I had already connected it. I'll delete this connection and do it again. So it was showing me what was already there. So click setup. Let's use our token here. Copy that token and then do cluecon test and add this token. Okay, just give me a sec here in etc. Load. Okay, let's see what's going on here. I'll try again. So looks like this token has been messed up somehow. Okay, I'm going to let me rush to the second method as I try to troubleshoot this out. So ideally, when you generate this token, you put a DEL plan, but I will jump to the method of connecting SignalWire as an outbound gateway, and I'll come back to this. Okay. The second method, I'll go back to the first method and try to remove mod-signalwire. It seems to have kind of got messed up when I deleted the token. The second method would be to create a Sip endpoint inside your SignalWire account. And once you do that, you register FreeSWITCH to your SignalWire. So the second method is to create the endpoint inside your FreeSWITCH account, sorry, your SignalWire account, and you register. So ideally, I would have something like this. You go under here, you create a new Sip endpoint. Under Sip, we can call this cluecon2, and I'll give it the password !2020 exclamation mark. And you can leave the rest as is. You now go inside your FreeSWITCH instance and put the credentials in there. So let's look at cluecon, the Sip endpoint called cluecon. you see the domain part, and then the username is what we typed as cluecon. So the full SIP URI would be cluecon at fred-8c, and this domain is resolvable to SignalWire IPs. So when you ping it, it will resolve to different IPs. Okay, let's jump in. We're going to the under SIP profiles, and we are creating an external connection, and this would ideally be, let me call it cluecon gateway.xml, and inside there I will put code that looks like this. All right, we use Nano editor so that it keeps things neat. So this is the domain, the proxy that we created in SignalWire, and this is the password I created, and this is the username. And you can call it anything you want. This gateway name is very important because we are going to use it in the DAO plan. cluecon.signalwire.com, remember that. And then we use this parameter for extension so that when we are doing inbound calls to our server, the destination number reflects, or the calling number reflects. I'll save this. And after saving that, I will also create a DAO plan. But before that, let me first go to the console and reload. Reload XML. Actually, I have to reload Sophia because I've created the SIP profile. Sophia profile external. Restart all. Okay, so after that, I can do Sophia status. So we have a gateway here. And let me first go back here and confirm the gesture. We can use under TCP or UDP or TLS. Username is cluecon. All right.
Was the user cluecon too?
Beg your pardon?
Was the user cluecon too?
Oh, I used cluecon instead. This one, I'm using another endpoint.
Okay.
If you're using cluecon 2, this would be the user here. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. So I'm using this one, and so we have cluecon at this. Sure. So you can see this gateway has been added when we reload. Here in this line, the user cluecon signalwire.com has been added. So Sophia status should show us the registered user gateway, which is here. It's external cluecon signalwire. And if I go back to my account, I should see that this Sip endpoint has registered, and it tells you it has been registered less than a minute ago. So that is step number one. We've connected our FreeSWITCH to SignalWire, but now we need to make outbound calls. And just to note that if you don't set any caller ID, SignalWire will go on and select any of the numbers you have purchased in your project, and it will use them at random. So if you're making outbound calls from your SIP endpoint, it will choose any of these numbers and use them as the caller IDs. But let's go to the dial plan. So I'll go inside dial plan, default.xml. I'll do VI. I have something already here. And I will comment these things out, just make sure there is no confusion here. And I will add my dial plan for that particular gateway. And it will look something like this. Excuse me, let me use Nano to display things correctly. So this dial plan means if I call a number starting with a plus and then with 12 digits, be my Ugandan number, send that call to the gateway called cluecon-signalwire.com and send the number that I've dialed to that gateway. All right. So doing that, I have to go and reload. I'll reload dial plan module XML. And after reloading, I will go to my extension that I registered and make a call to +2 56754 8086. That's a number I have here. Let's see what happened here. Okay, it gives us a compile error. Let's see what happened in that dial plan. Okay. All right, let's see. just remove this and just put any other digits this time here. Okay, I'll try this call again. So as you can see, that call is ringing and it should hit my phone right here. Right there, that's the call. And if I hang up, it should hang up. So that's the other method for connecting FreeSWITCH to SignalWire. That way, we've been able to register our SIP endpoint. We've created a SIP endpoint and register that SIP endpoint on FreeSWITCH side, and we've been able to make outbound calls. How do you handle incoming calls? Because that would be another question before I jump back to the mod-signalwire. That would be another question. How do you handle incoming calls? All you do is you go to a specific number you're interested in. Let's, for example, look at the first one. And you go under settings. You will find that you find voice and fax settings. Under voice calls, you can select options. From the options that you see, you have relay, LAML webhooks, LAML applications, dialog flow agent, SIP endpoint. And our interest here is SIP endpoint. If we are using mod-signalwire, we would do a FreeSWITCH connector. So you need to note those two points. In this method, the second method, we are selecting a SIP endpoint, and that would be our cluecon. When you type there, actually the options will come. So if I select cluecon and save, when I call this number, the call will be redirected to this SIP endpoint, and the call will hit FreeSWITCH. Let me do that now. Let me open the console and try to make a call. But if everything is fine, then we should see the number +15418121973. So if that's everything went well, this number should hit.
Sorry, the number you have dialed is busy. Try again later.
Oops. Okay, probably my network here doesn't allow me to make international calls to the US, but that's something else. So now when I go back to mod-signalwire, there are files that need to be deleted. I have to remove the adoption to make sure that this works, because I think the token was messed up and I would love to delete that and redo it again. Just give me a sec here. So now, when you install mod-signalwire, it puts some cache files and it stores some cache files inside var lib FreeSWITCH storage, and then we are going to delete these files. I'll remove the adoption files. Okay.
Fred,
So,
for
and-
that
and we-
dial plan, you might want to escape your plus. That might be the problem you were having.
Yeah, I did that. I escaped the plus. What I did. Let me just confirm that. Switch. Yeah, I did here. And then this question mark means that the plus sign is optional. And of course, the D plus means the preceding digits. Let's do the reload.
Looks like that should work.
So it did, it worked. I was able to call myself. You want me to show that again? I was able to call my number here. It worked. And it's ringing here on my phone. Okay. So I will reload SignalWire. So we have a new token after deleting the adoption file. So once you make once you mess up the token like I did, I had it and then I tried to delete it. So you have to delete the adoption files that SignalWire keeps, and then you reload the module. It will generate a new token. So this SignalWire connector is the simplest method to use. So we got challenges with it, and you go back under the integrations, set up a new integration, connect to FreeSWITCH. We give it a name, of course, cluecon test. I'll put the new token, and it should be able to connect now. It connected successfully. All right. So once this is done, I'll save. Let's go back here and see what. We have a SignalWire gateway. Yeah. We are going to try and make a call. I have to come back here and send a call via the SignalWire gateway instead, the SignalWire connector. I'll comment this out. All right, let's see. Load mail. Okay, let's see what happens to my call now. It says the gateway is down. What's going on here? That reload should bring us back to normal. Okay, I'll try again. Okay, this is the proper restart and see if that changes something. Okay, before the time runs out on me, I want to cast back here my account and try to show so I put this slide just in case something that has happened to me happens to you regarding the SignalWire connector. All you have to do is remove the config files from valib FreeSWITCH storage. Once you do that, okay, I think, did I remove all the configs? Let me first test one more time and just to make sure that I'll reload one more time and okay. new token that has been generated. I'll go back to my account and go under integrations and create a new connection. S2 connect. That's successful. All right, let's try and test again. Should ideally work. It was still loading configs. Oh, goodness. Test again. Okay, so it has finally worked. So the thing is, I had to delete all the config files, not only the adoption. So the call has come in via the connector. So I'll jump back to the presentation to highlight a few things. So after removing all the configuration files, that is if the token is messed up like it did today, and apologies for that, you have to reload, you have to load mod-signalwire again, and then you go back and create a new connector. So I also highlighted that the adoption restart process, restart the adoption process from the beginning to force mod-signalwire to fetch new credentials. So those are a few commands you can use to reload the module SignalWire and fetch commands. You can also do debug for your particular connector by using SignalWire debug. So those are the cached files. If you're interested in knowing what they do and what you expect from them, I've also put those explanations for you. I've explained the adoption token and adoption auth and the SignalWire conf. And just to explain a bit about the DAO plans, the external gateway, we named our gateway, and then we created the username cluecon for the Sip endpoint, created a password, and then the proxy is our domain part, and then we set register, and then set the register transport. Of course, for the DAO plan, we had to escape the plus sign, and then we were able to terminate calls in both methods. So unless you have any questions, that is the end of my workshop. And again, apologies for the configs that went wrong, but I hope things went as expected. Like, I mean, I hope you learned something today.
If anybody has any questions, now is the time that you can ask. You can either post them in the chat room itself, or you can ask it just
okay.
audibly.
There is one question from Ellie. Are there any benefits? Are there any benefits of using mod-signalwire over external SIP profile? Well, the idea is mod-signalwire is quite straightforward, and it should be easy and smooth to connect. The problem happened is that I messed up the token, and of course it helped us to see how you get out of that trouble, to delete the token and reload the module. But when you install FreeSWITCH, if you want to connect it to SignalWire, it is better you use the connector because it's already installed for you and you terminate calls with ease.
Yeah, thanks for that, Fred. I think I personally learnt more from this session because it didn't work than I would have if it had worked. So all this business of how to recover from a scrambled configuration was actually quite useful. And
so the mistake was I created this token and registered. So what I did was I deleted and then tried to create a new token, and that's what kind of brought us to this point. But I'm glad it gave us an opportunity to see how to recover from such a scenario.
Yeah, and I bet just about everybody on this session has managed to screw up a complete configuration in their early days. I know I certainly have, and previously, yeah, what I would have ended up doing is just completely trashing the complete installation and start again. But I've learned how to recover things, so that is quite useful. So thanks for that, Fred.
You're welcome.
And Fred, I'm going to chime in and say another benefit of this integration is that I don't have two different parties kind of at odds blaming the other one here. I mean, I've got a FreeSWITCH installation and an organization that wants to support FreeSWITCH. And I think I'm going to be in a much better support scenario using SignalWire than, for instance, another carrier.
Exactly. And of course, the FreeSWITCH developers have used the FreeSWITCH to develop some parts of SignalWire. So really, you are oscillating from within the same community. And the core developers of SignalWire understand 100% FreeSWITCH. So nothing will catch them off guard.
Yes.
I would tend to agree that sometimes when things go wrong, you end up learning more because occasionally something will happen to the connector files there in the config file. I have had that happen probably about 3 months ago, and it was confounding why it wasn't working. And basically, the methods you went through to recover that was basically what I had to do to recover that. So, that should be really useful for folks. And there's also a nice little thing with that SignalWire connector. There's a config file. SignalWire.com from the auto load configs override -context, and it's something I added in there where you can take it from the default context and make a dedicated SignalWire dial plan context. And the reason I did that is for really quickly spinning up files, to basically get a new number and point it at the connector, and it has a catch-all, so then all the numbers that aren't specifically configured automatically go to an IVR, and that's basically why I did that, and that saved a whole lot of time. So I figured I'd throw that one in there. And I do have a question, Fred. How close are we to integrating SMS directly into FreeSWITCH with Sip Simple? Has anybody broached that topic yet?
Well, that's a future request. I think there is an article we have that helps you probably terminate SMS from FreeSWITCH. But that's an existing feature request to kind of integrate SMS within FreeSWITCH.
Okay,
so
well, we'll keep an eye on that.
You need to keep an eye on that. I can't give an ETA, but it's something that is on the table, really. It's on the list, and they're working on it, the engineers or the developers.
Fantastic. Well, that's a good one. I have limited functionality through LAML and a whole external gateway, and I do have a little bit of functionality through Sip Simple, but it was a real workaround to get it to work. So hopefully the engineers will get that by next cluecon, and we'll be able to celebrate full SMS integration, because that'll really be nice. You did good, Fred. Thanks for the demo.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right, I think I have 1 minute to end this. I guess if there are no more questions, I will hand it back over to Jason to close the session. Thank you very much. You've been a very good audience. And I appreciate the questions and your comments. See you tomorrow.
Thank you very much, everybody. We will see you at our next session, probably early tomorrow morning. Have a great one, everyone.